Welcome to the very first episode of Capital Ideas, where we celebrate the ideas that enrich our lives and the capital process that turns those ideas into reality.
Capital Ideas is brought to you by the Investor Choice Advocates Network, ICAN, a nonprofit public interest litigation organization that advocates for the entrepreneurs, innovators, and small investors who keep America's economic engines running. I'm Nick Morgan, co-host of Capital Ideas and founder of ICAN. Dara?
And I am Dara Albright, co-host of Capital Ideas and proud board member of ICAN. Please join me in welcoming our very first guest today, Sally Outlaw. Sally is the CEO of Worthy Financial, a modern-day financial company that uses technological and regulatory innovation to ensure that everyone, no matter one's financial circumstance or employment status, can build a solid nest egg and retire gracefully. Welcome, Sally. Let's begin. I want to start by asking you, how has your innovation enhanced lives in terms of user experience, job creation, and or investor access to capital?
So what we offer is a proprietary bond. It's a $10, 5.5% interest earning bond, only $10. So it makes it very easy for people to micro invest and build a nest egg. So we're really trying to solve for two problems. We're trying to help everyday investors, retail investors, save for their future and do it painlessly. We know it's very difficult for people to change their behavior and systematically tuck money away. So, we use our sort of technology tool, the Roundup and the recurring investments in our free app to allow people to tuck money away painlessly and earn that 5.5 or on an annualized basis, 5.65% interest. We then take those bond sales and originally we lent out that money to growing American companies. So we gave, tens of millions of dollars in loans to growing American companies. Particularly during COVID, that was very helpful because we could be more flexible than a bank. We were able to sort of stretch out their payments and support them, through the difficult times. So what I like is that we're solving for both things. We're helping, grow American companies. And then we're also trying to help people save and invest for their future. We have shifted this last offering to real estate, but it's going to small, boutique real estate developers, and they're really doing community real estate projects. So we still feel like we have that social impact and are helping other people. But right now we're in the real estate sector for this offering.
How difficult or easy would you say it has been to raise capital for your innovation?
It was tough. I sort of had an interesting journey, though. I really pieced together various sources. So, my business partner and I put in some capital to start. We didn't want to access capital from others until we knew, we had a sort of an MVP viable, product here. So it was a little bit of our own capital. And then we had a few angel investors that invested. And then there was a sort of gap where we still needed to get a little VC money and raise additional funds, and we went to the crowd. That's my background in crowdfunding. Because of the regulations under what they call Reg CF, regulation crowdfunding, we ended up raising $250,000 sort of gap funding to bring us from the angel period to get to the VC. So it was sort of a tapestry, a patchwork of a lot of different sources, and that to me is just my message to anyone else doing that is keep going, keep trying. You don't always get capital from one person or one source. We get a combination of our own, the VC money, the crowdfunded money, and angel investors, and even some people like lawyers who gave services in exchange for some early equity. So it was really a patchwork, but it got us to where we are today. Now we're almost $200 million in sales, and we're about to raise our new round. So I think it'll be a little easier this time to raise capital for what we call our Series A.
That's fantastic, Sally. One of the things we're interested in at ICAN is regulatory barriers to capital. With that in mind, what would you say is the greatest regulatory impediment you've had to overcome?
No, obviously everyone has challenges when you're in financial services with, the compliance and the regulations. But I would say our biggest issue was lack of communication and transparency from the Securities and Exchange Commission. I know that's not a new, news flash, but it is frustrating when you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to do good things in the community, you're trying to build not only your business, but help other people, in their own endeavors, with our lending and whatnot. And what happens a lot when you deal with those government agencies is we respond in a timely manner, and they don't. There were sometimes months where they would go dark, you wouldn't hear anything, or lawyers would call, and all you would get back is, oh, it's under review. Your submission is under review. And so it's very hard to plan as a company. You have customers sort of waiting for your next product, and you can't tell them when it's going to happen. So it's a painful process doing anything. I think that's highly regulated. But the difficulty, I think, from our standpoint, was just not knowing. If there could be a time frame where if you submit, the government's required to respond in X period of time, 90 days, 120 days, where you were working within some reasonable framework. That would be a tremendous addition if they could sort of weave that in, going forward, if they're ever updating, the rules, the crowdfunding rules in particular.
That's a great suggestion, and I think you're in good company, unfortunately, when it comes to that kind of challenge. Thanks so much for joining us, Sally, on our inaugural episode of Capital Ideas, and thank you, Dara, for co-hosting as we get this kicked off. Everyone else, we'll see you on the next episode of Capital Ideas, and please go to our website, icanlaw.org, to see our other video series, SEC Roundup. Until then, goodbye.